All right, everybody. This is Joe Gig Werks from Gig Werks. I want to start today's webcast about modernizing the enterprise with SharePoint apps and the SharePoint App Model. It's a pretty exciting time and interesting time in the industry, as 2016 is here, and it means a lot of changes, but we think just changes that continue to improve. So with it, just a bit about ourselves. Gig Werks is been in the SharePoint arena now since 2005. Very well regarded by Microsoft. We have particular access to Microsoft. We're virtual technology specialists for them, and we get all sorts of advanced training and access to information that most folks don't. And with that, and over the years, we do have full expertise across the stack. Particular focus on professional services, if nothing else by way of where we are. But we also have a wide range of customers that include manufacturing and such. Now, today we're going to take a look at the app model, a couple of examples of our own and our partners, and bring the whole thing together. Just a little bit of housekeeping on our part. We have a number of package solutions, one of which is our Premium Advisory Services Plan. And the next one here, the SharePoint and Office 365 Workshop. As we've done this for years with our clients, as you shift platforms, it's good to get a quick couple of days in there to know what you can take advantage of, what's changed, and to really not only go through it as a training exercise, but a training exercise in context to some of the solutions that you're trying to build yourselves within the enterprise. Additionally, we do business solution planning, and then Nintex, who we're a top partner of, we have quick starts for them as well. So ProjectReady is our ISV that we launched over the last year or so, and is a great example of the modern app model. And so obviously we do look to market our own products, but this experience we've had building out our own products, we really do believe we can bring to our clients to help them build their own internal products, if you will, for your customers. So a quick look at things, right? So solution architecture then and now. Traditionally, you're in the land of custom WSPs if you really want to extend and fine-tune the use of SharePoint within your enterprise. This requires server-side code, and the solutions are pretty much one-offs. It's difficult to scale and reuse a lot of these solutions. It's very IT-intensive, both in terms of the support and the maintenance, documentation, handoff. The deployment of WSPs and these customizations also cause system interruptions as you're running upgrades and updates. Going to build single, one at a time monolithic solutions also prolongs the release of a solution and the value of that solution to the business, which is where you start to look to pre-built apps in conjunction with the apps that you'll develop within the enterprise. And of course, this prolonged release delays that business value. And finally, there's a dependency on not only .NET, but specific versions of .NET to build those solutions. And so we trained up on the modern app model about 3-4 years ago out in Redmond, and the new app model is a little bit like Back to the Future. So it's really the rebirth of true applications, but they have huge advantages over custom WSPs. For one, apps are not deployed to the form directly, and with that, there's no recycling of the box, there's no business discontinuity through maintenance windows. The application itself that you build will increase over time through the reuse and extension of the solution. And our own, which we'll mention in a moment a little more detail, 12,000 hours of IP on just our engineering customers. And what we realized is for about, half or 3/4 of that time, we could subsume everything we had done. We just keep adding value to our solution pretty much every week now. Not having to go back in and figure out how things to work, but actually building apps that scale. And with that, you're able to focus on the user experience. The user experience has always been the rightful bugaboo within the enterprise. Build it, and they will not necessarily come. So the ability to get this build it once, build it right, and extend on it really does free up a lot of time on the user experience, and it minimizes IT involvement. So once it's built and it's easier to document coherently, your reliance on IT and the expense therein allows IT, frankly, to focus on things like user experience. Again, no downtime to deploy. And this is a real kicker. There's no limitations on the versions of .NET or technology for that matter. You can build apps on any technical platform you want, but because they're talking via API, sitting outside of your SharePoint environment and managing and extending its functionality, you're no longer constrained to .NET at all, let alone a particular version. And once they're certainly the stuff that's off the shelf, the deployment is very quickly, and ultimately these continued iterations are just more rapid to build. So WSPs traditionally is the way that you did customizations to SharePoint. And they tended to be specific function to support a specific business area or feature, typically deployed at the farm level. And common uses of WSPs have been, connecting to SQL, automating site provisioning, external sharing, info path forms to front-end processes, low-end customizations. But there are a lot of disadvantages with this, right? For one, WSPs, again, limit what version of technology, .NET, and lock you into .NET, which means you don't get the ability to use the latest and greatest technology within. Big downfall, a couple of the big ones that we've witnessed over the years is that, for one, WSPs can absolutely destabilize your farm. And, deploying a customization for finance and to bring down your entire enterprise is something that has always been at some peril and risk. I mean, there's staging and dev, and there's those processes, but you're still at peril. And also, WSPs can then conflict with each other. Everything's working great. You introduce one WSP, and now other things begin to fail. And this is difficult to scale. And it certainly complicates customizations in future releases of SharePoint and hybrid deployments. In fact, WSPs do not work in SharePoint Online, in Office 365. And the good news is that since 2013, you could do WSPs or modern apps. So any of the stuff you build today, be it today, tomorrow, a year from now, or 5 years from now, you go to the cloud, that IP will move over with you. And that's a huge, huge, huge long-term savings for institutions. A few more things. So I mentioned that these are intrusive, low-level. The negative side effects that are not targeted for, degradation of farm-level performance. We've all witnessed this. And that you really need high-level developers to maintain these customizations. And frankly, there's a lot of overhead in cataloging and documenting the inventory of WSPs that are running in your enterprise. We have witnessed routinely that when we're brought in to help people plan and migrate and build new features on the new platform, they go, oh yeah, we have some. They'll tell you 12 and they have 122. And you'll find out that they weren't well documented because the fellow who built it or the gal who built it left. And so this is a common occurrence. And it's a lot of overhead having to keep track of all these individual WSPs versus an app, which you maintain it in TFS and you can hand it off, and it's much more scalable from a maintenance and extension perspective as well. And like I said, they just don't work in the cloud, and if you're going to run hybrid, why build a WSP for on-prem and then build an app for the cloud? It just doesn't make economic sense. So transforming the way you would handle WSPs in the modern enterprise, there are two main ways to transition to this modern cloud architecture. One is the SharePoint Application Model. It's a framework, allows you to build external applications that communicate to SharePoint, and the other way is to go through third-party applications. Third-party applications like our own stuff, ProjectReady and Nintex, are pre-built, and you can just essentially snap them in on specific business needs, and then if you need to write stuff additional around it, you can mix and match these things very artfully. And what you'll find is these Office 365 apps that you're procuring in the marketplace, in fact, you can build as well, because they're all using the SharePoint Application Model. So we also have on the call today co-moderating our CTO, Neil Barkina. So Neil, if I speak out of turn or you want to add to any of this stuff as I go along, please feel free to do so. And so with this, this is the journey of how stuff has been built over the years. And it's all ASP, .NET, and versions therein. And when you look at these statistics where half of the enterprises out there are likely to go out into the cloud literally next year, this represents, frankly, an enormous opportunity and an enormous challenge to transform all what is now a legacy approach for customization as you move out and about into the cloud. So the modern app model is essentially, it's an app, sits out in the ether, uses SQL Azure and services, and then communicates by CSOM to SharePoint. So again, this is why you don't have to bring down the farm, and if your app fails, nothing else will fail. At least you know it's this one piece or one feature within that app. So they call to SharePoint via the API model, and both building apps where you can focus more on the UX, where you procure apps that are already pre-built and addressed, satisfies what we call the retail effect. Users want to go on their iPhone and buy an app, and essentially this is an opportunity for the enterprise to start to mirror that paradigm more. And there's a number of advantages to this app model. For one, again, can't beat it to death enough. It's here now. It works now on 2013 and beyond, and it works in the cloud and then subsequently hybrid environments. And you're not constrained as to what technology you are forced to use to build these customizations. That maintenance window, no downtime as you deploy them. They're easier to maintain, scale, document. They're repeatable, so you can actually go through concerted QA processes and, again, keep extending value over what you built rather than, having things cobble together, if you will, and talk to each other. University of on-prem and in the cloud. And you can start to take those, when we look at our own product set that we've developed over the last few years, it really subsumed dozens upon dozens of WSPs into a single application, and it's made it just much more stable and repeatable. The same hours that we put in building one-offs, we've now built and have been able to deliver to a number of customers in a way that's fully repeatable and just keeps improving. So, no custom code on your SharePoint server. Ramp up time for the development of those apps. There's the other thing, too, I do want to mention we don't have in here. If you already have the WSPs, if you already have the IP, this journey is going to be that much more accelerated for you as well. And the ability to leverage hosting platforms in your own infrastructure, non-SharePoint, Windows, Azure, and really this brings your whole customization all the way up into a whole nother level. I think we got that twice. Rick? Oh, sorry. Just hitting the wrong button there, guys. Apologize. I was like, what happened? So, again, no IT windows, no upgrade windows. The ability to self-service, if the app is there, any admin can deploy it. You don't have to go and hit your developers whose skills are better used otherwise. You can govern very tightly the way apps are distributed and secured, increases over time. And the upgrades are completely transparent. This is the other thing that really you can't stress enough. You go in, Office 365, test it in one site collection, great, roll out the feature to your primary production instance, and away you go. And those upgrades are transparent to your user. So in our own journey, actually we have to update this because we put in more hours since. But in 2014, after we took we trained up on the modern app model, just prior to this, we looked down, we had 12,000 hours of solution code for programmatic setting of security, kicking off sites, aggregating tasks. I mean, just a whole plethora of rich features, but they were all, the industry term, leveraged IP. They were all based upon previous solutions, but then sort of recreated and one-offed, if you will, for individual clients as we engage them. And what you'll find is that's just riskier. It's much easier to point to finished work and go, hey, this is what we have, how close are we, there are a couple of features we need to add, whatever, and then to know that those features were available everywhere. And so I guess probably closer to 8,000 hours now. But we've been able to deliver the same solution over and over again to a variety of clients. We make one update, we push it out to all of them, and it's just better for everybody. And And so we built this specifically, or at least initially, for the AEC, but it's really a PMO tool and document control suite. And these are our products. So I don't want to make this just a sort of straight up sales pitch, but this was an amazing journey. These were all one-off WSPs, custom code, InfoPath forms. Nope, they're full-on apps. We've been able to extend our solutions, deeply integrating to Outlook, the whole bit. And so with that, obviously our stuff is a third party, but there are other third parties, and we're going to reference Nintex here because this is another place where we've seen our clients very successfully start to move away from custom WSPs. So third-party apps, if they're in the marketplace now, we're ready for on-prem or in the cloud. It's pre-built. Somebody else to blame if it doesn't work, and it's much more likely to work because a whole bunch of people will be yelling at the manufacturer. You can implement it very, very quickly, and again, because these are modern apps, same thing. You don't have to cycle the farm or shut things down, and they're repeatable. And again, you can start to subsume a lot of WSPs. One of our clients had a number of these, a law firm, and he's rebuilt whole sections of what was just a whole bunch of custom code and InfoPath wired up to a web service that was this and that, and has rebuilt a plethora of features just off of the Nintex platform. The Nintex platform, no code, it has pre-built connectors to pretty much every product set you can think of, Salesforce, DocuSign, and it's very measurable and reusable as a platform. So we started becoming Nintex partners and advocates of Nintex because part of that same journey, we used to build a lot of custom workflows as part of our practice. You're in there in Visual Studio, everything's working great, you make one change, all of a sudden you're like, oh damn, I got to find all this stuff, and then find out why it broke and fix it. Then the other thing that we realized is that we really have great retention in the company. Neil and I have been working together at Gig Werks for 11 years. But if I go to Neil, hey, that workflow we've been running for 3 years, can you go into TFS and see how we can modify it? And you go down a bit of a rabbit hole. Even if you've done proper documentation and everything else, you still have to go back in and sort of get a refresher course on where you were at. If you use something. So with that, what we found was Nintex was just lower risk. It was lower risk for us. It was lower risk for our clients. It just made a whole bunch of sense. And with that, we became partners and run our own enterprise workflow processes with their platform. So common applications of Nintex, where you have seen a lot of these WSPs, time-off requests, HR requests, notifications, compliance, which is a big thing with us, operational stuff, facilities management, purchase orders, all these things that would have been little .NET apps in a proprietary intranet or a whole bunch of WSPs handing off to each other. This, out of the box, these things are very easy to wire up off of their platform. And again, in this modern cloud world, Nintex itself has pre-built connectors to Yammer, Box, Twitter. I mean, just it's an endless list. It's something like 80 different connectors. They ship with pre-built actions, so if you will, sort of starter kits, which is again very efficient, very handy. And with that, what I want to do is I just want to say that we do have more webcasts. We're going to drill deeper into with our partner Nintex. To show off their app model. But then later in November, it will be a pure up, deep dive, technical demo, technical questions around the construction of modern apps. As always, everybody, we do appreciate taking time out of your busy day to come to our webcast. And look forward to showing and discussing with you in greater depth the topic we introduced today. Thank you, everybody.